Tatum?
Here.
John Brown?
Here.
Frank Myers?
Here.
George Weiner?
Here.
Ed Luttrell? Jamie Bowman?
Here.
Frank Roth?
Here.
Sean Zerwig? Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. All right, first item is the approval of the agenda for the September 16th, 2013 meeting tonight.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jamie seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of the minutes for the August 19th, 2013 meeting. Is there a motion on that?
I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Vicki
that.
seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Now we'll move on to commission business. The first action item is HPCA number 13-0916A, a request to build a screen-in porch on the rear of the house located at 664 Market Street, circa 1900. Is the applicant here for that? Come on up and just tell us about your plan.
Well, the blueprints and everything else are already submitted. The pictures, I have a general contractor through St. John. We're going with the same siding as the house is, same 3-tab roofing on the top. We've done a lot of work to the house in the last 3 years. Just like to close it in, and it's got a 9-inch existing foundation already there. So it's not like we're adding another foundation or anything.
So this is already a little patio area?
Yeah, it's already, 9-inch thick foundation. We sit out there all the time, it's just with the bugs and everything, we'd like to just screen it in.
Good idea.
Any questions on that?
I drove by and looked at it, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the property.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it does-
really nice looking.
Well, the same paint and everything is going to be existing on,
I
like
would caution you one thing, though, you've got so many additions on the building already. Just be careful that that one doesn't overpower the rest of the house.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as limitations go, from where the ceiling comes down, there's a window existing that we have to just come off it, over the top of it. But through the contract and everything else, it's not going to be too far over to the other side. We think it's going to be a nice addition.
Yeah. Well, it certainly will be an asset for the backyard.
And like I said, we've been down here 3 years, and we've really been working a lot on the house and brought it up from an old gray battleship to...
Well, you've done a really fine job.
I appreciate
It looks
that.
really nice.
Is there a
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we approve the application as submitted.
A motion approved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Vicki seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Have fun with your screened-in porch.
I hope to have it done by the end of the month so we can start using it.
Yeah, before it gets too cold.
All right, next item is HPCA number 13-0916B, a request to replace existing aluminum windows with vinyl windows, 11 windows total, in the house at 120 South 5th Street, circa 1948. Is the applicant here for that?
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Fine. Yeah, the existing windows as on the application are all aluminum and single pane glass, which is extremely inefficient. And the aluminum's starting to oxidize quite a bit. So I would like to upgrade it.
Would you leave these aluminum windows as storm windows on the outside?
No, it's an all masonry building, brick and block on the inside, and the windows are like sandwiched in between. So you pull them out.
Do the windows, how do the windows open, are they?
They're single hung, just the bottom's open. Not real easily on all of them because the house was built in '48, so the windows are original to that.
Which is
Have
not
you
so old.
I'm sorry.
Have you considered aluminum storms on, I mean, with your galvanized frames there now, you can paint those the same color as your trim, and that'll hold up very well. I know I've done it, and it holds up very well, and application of storm windows would be much more reasonable in price, and it would be every bit as sufficient as your vinyl and probably outlast it by a long shot.
I don't know, like, I research a lot of these vinyl windows, and the Wingard brothers, they're nice windows. And I did send some pictures along of another house that's comparable to mine. It's a brick house with white, and it looks very good. And I'd love to do the upgrade. I've done a lot of work on the house. I've just repainted it all. The hardwood floors are all refinished, and
Yeah.
a newer kitchen, and just like to bring it up.
She's going to grab the pictures of what the vinyl would look like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but not in here.
Are these vinyl windows or vinyl, or wood-clad vinyl?
No, they're solid vinyl.
Wood.
Found that wood.
It says 11 windows, is it, so that doesn't include like these?
No, that one room on the back is a porch, and then there's like a covered patio in the back. And I was going to leave those alone because they're non-heated rooms.
Bathroom's got some glass box in it.
Right, yeah, the bathroom does. I know what you're saying about the storm windows, but you still got that ugly aluminum that's oxidizing on the inside.
Well, you can paint that and it'll last. I mean, if that's your concern, I mean, aluminum, the paint won't stick to it very well until it does oxidize a bit. Once it's oxidized a bit, just steel wool it down and paint it, and it holds up. I don't know how long it holds up. I've used it for 30 years without a bit of trouble. Not that I have aluminum windows, I have aluminum storm windows, and I buy those raw aluminum, put some vinegar on them or something to remove any oil finishes on this aluminum and paint them, and that's the end of it until it's ready to paint the house again. And from our standpoint in reviewing it, it's just that the building is a good example of the type of construction that was built in that era. And the windows are an integral part of that. I mean, they go along with it. There's several buildings in town like that that they're really great looking buildings, but they're specific to a time. And if you change things, then you really, nothing special about them. But I talk too much.
Yeah. I'm not fond of the vinyl windows. It is a newer building, but the windows do look appropriate.
Yes.
Appropriate to.
Whenever you have the vinyl windows, would it shrink the size of the window, like from the outside of the brick?
Very slightly. But
Okay. Because like sometimes I think what makes the architecture look different is that framing, I guess.
Right. It kind of closes them in and
Because the aluminum is so
becomes heavier.
skinny. I think that's what they're
Yeah.
saying changes the look of the architecture, just to understand it.
Any more discussion on it, or?
I can only say that the staff here has done an excellent review on this.
Oh, that's-
So
Yeah.
I personally think we ought to support the staff position.
When it comes to I don't know. On this one, I am torn because like whenever it comes to something like this, I don't feel like it's gonna change it that much from if he did paint it. And if it's what he wants. I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to
And,
get at
you know,
because,
and the vinyl is maintenance-free, whereas if I paint it like all paint, you're gonna have to, you know, it has to be redone.
I mean, I do understand that and I read through everything.
And you get the same, you know, a white frame is a white frame.
Now, I understand the staff's position on it, and they are accurate at the same time. I'm not certain that anyone in St. Genevieve will know the difference visually in 1947 house of having.
Well, and I don't feel like it's on that main
It's-
drag where everybody's gonna
Right, I
be.
mean, is this actually, is it,
It's right here.
It's
isn't it?
right behind us,
it's right behind us.
Right there,
behind
yeah.
So
the
it's-
doctor office and here.
Yeah.
Right, so that ends there,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
is
there's no, I
also,
mean, there's no traffic on that
Right.
part
and
of
this
Fifth
is also
Street.
gonna look a lot like the doctor's office. I mean,
That's true.
That's true.
I have a question. It's been a long time since I've lived with aluminum. Aren't they very cold in the winter? Isn't the
What's that?
yes.
The metal
but-
frame.
Oh, yeah, they conduct heat and cold. They're horribly inefficient.
That would be the reason that I would.
Yeah, I mean,
Because of that horrible.
And,
But then
you know, in storm windows, you'd save some of that, but it's still cold between there. It's still gonna,
Yeah,
you know, and then they frost up
yeah.
because of that.
And I agree with Jamie's point, it's going to closely match the doctor's office anyway, but that extreme cold conductivity through the aluminum is the reason that I would, if I were the homeowner, I would want to do it as well. I mean, it's man-made material, and it's,
that's a good point, that it is a modern structure replacing modern materials with modern materials.
And maybe better modern materials, right?
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Probably if they'd have had vinyl windows back then, they'd used them.
Probably would.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to entertain a motion to replace Mr. Ripson's windows, vinyl windows.
Second.
A second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
All right, so
I with
two opposed.
reservations. I with reservations, but.
Okay, so
But I'm okay
what,
with it.
Frank
Yeah.
opposed, everybody else approved. So you are
Based on.
free to
staff
change your windows.
recommendation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks for your
Thanks for being
time.
here. All right, next up is HPCA 121119A, a request for approval of the renovation of the old Rozier buildings, 307 to 309 Merchant Street, circa 1920.
Good evening. Thanks for seeing us again. Are you tired of?
Thanks for being here. No, we never get tired of this
You're so
project,
mean,
so
son.
Good.
you know, as much as you want.
While they're setting up, I'll just recap and thank you for the working committee who met with us last week. We appreciate that too. These are larger scale versions of the renderings that you were given last week. The images, of course, are the same, but I really want to emphasize that we didn't just reprint them for the sake of reprinting them. We toned down, and you can really see in the larger scale printing, we toned down the saturation of the color in the glass, and then toned down the entire rendering style to show you that this truly is our intent of the glass on the Ben Franklin building. The rest of it remains unchanged, and we also noticed a little glitch in our model that I think Brenda may have brought our attention to. There are small contrasting colored diamonds in the masonry in the Ben Franklin building, and those will remain. All of the masonry will remain as is. We're not planning any changes like that. But the design essentially is what you saw in December. There wasn't a lot of controversy there. The one piece of the design that was discussed the most is the canopy over the building, over the entry piece. And at our working session last week, we discussed shortening that by 2 feet from what is shown on the model. The entry is actually set back off the sidewalk, and so in the interest of just letting that facade and those arched windows speak for themselves, we can bring that back. To the extent that the curve is controversial, we are going to beg for your mercy and let us do that. We looked at a number of other options, and we're convinced in our studio that it's really the most handsome option. We've got some window samples for you here to look at. We have some metal samples. When we say copper and dark bronze anodized metal, I'm sure you all know what that means, but we have some chips here. And we also brought what we think is probably the best solution for the windows for cost and for maintaining a light saturation on them, and it's an adhesive film that goes on the inside of the glass from a company called Freeform. It's relatively affordable. You can cut it into any kind of shape that you want, and we brought a few pieces of that we could stick on the glass and approximate somewhat what that will look like, so that we can all be comfortable that we're not proposing backlit stained glass there. We all know that, but this will help us all see that. So with that in mind, I'm going to let Todd talk a little bit more about the window because he met with the rep. We're proposing a pre-finished aluminum window. We would love to call Marvin and say, guys, come down and charge us $1 million for the most beautiful wood window, but we just can't do that with the budget. So we did some research and found some pretty historically accurate aluminum windows that we're proposing to use.
Here's the bronze finish. I mean, it's pretty standard bronze, and then this is the copper color for the awning, the entry awning. The window manufacturer that we picked did not have the exact window that we are proposing to use. Apparently, he needs more than a week to get exactly what you want. Mm-hmm. But I have a picture here, and I can show you. But basically, it's essentially this window. But this window has a 1-inch insulated glass, and that doesn't allow you to have the reveal, which you can kind of see in here. They replaced the 1-inch insulated glass with a 5/8 insulated glass, and then bevel the corners back, which allows you to put the buttons on, and they do a simulated divided light so that there's interior and exterior mullions, so that it we can then we can do whatever pattern we want. We're in our drawings we're showing a simple pattern, but that's pretty much what we have on the windows. It's pretty simple, aluminum efficient window that they are making now that gives you the thermal break and makes them a lot more efficient.
With all of that south-facing glass, efficiency is a big deal. So the airspace in between, the argon gas, if we can afford it to fill the pocket and make those even more energy efficient, will be really helpful. But you can tell the profile is relatively thin, and the chamfers on that detailing you wouldn't think would make a big deal, but you all would understand it really does make a difference, and so we'll be looking at a window like that. This is that material from the company called Freeform. They also make exotically expensive acrylics, panels, which are beautiful, but we think this will fit the bill pretty well. It comes in a number of, you want to try this? And even then, just for the sake of it, here's a fairly saturated orange. When we throw it on the glass, you can see that it...
Is that one of the colors that's in the project?
Well,
That color is like in the church windows. And just to throw that out there.
and this actually is clear glass. We would, because it's south facing, we would have a tinted glass because it's
Yeah, I think we might
Yeah.
use that orange. I'll show you an example of a color we would not use. See, we had there were some highly saturated ones. That I don't think we would want to use. That's just a little too bright. Some of its sister materials are some desaturated blues and greens. The perforation in there will let some light through. We think that'll be really helpful for the so that it doesn't just look like solid blocks of color inside.
Well, I'm really glad to see that the color saturation has been dropped somewhat since
Yeah.
the December presentation.
Yeah.
I apologize for missing last week's work session. It was unavoidable, but I think that's a lot more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, we agree. Would you think so?
I think
We're
the
glad
front-
you agree.
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Oh,
Yeah. I think the front of the Ben Franklin side, or the, whatever, the French Quarter side, or no, that's the other side. Anyway, that's been changed already so much that I don't think that this would be, I don't find that this is unappealing to have this colored glass there. Is it something that at a later date, they could peel that off if
Yeah,
they,
it's,
they sure can. In fact,
Like
it's,
the
just like that?
it's
It's like
static light.
Yeah,
Like a
okay.
decal.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was just for example, but that's a good idea.
yeah, they just come in big sheets of it,
And you just,
and they have a couple different things. They spray something on and do something, and then they basically just razor blade trim it around the edges. To get it so it fits exact.
How many different colors are there to be used, just those 4?
Well, they can custom print most anything that you wanted, so I think we'd probably have a half dozen, 4 to 6. Of secondary colors, and maybe some desaturated primary. Certainly not neon pink or anything else inconsistent with that rendering.
yeah. Nice clean look. I don't think I would care for it if it was over on the Roser side. Anything that's.
No, yeah, that's kind of the,
Yeah.
why we were able to, I think, why we were able to do it on this side, because it
Yeah.
kind of, it was in the later building, it's a lot different. It has,
Yeah.
one large opening, storefront kind of opening. I think it lends itself well to be in that space.
Okay, I'd just like a little clarification here. I'm not quite seeing the connect between that and this in terms of the rendering. What are the lines here, for instance?
That-
Why are these?
That's always going to be closed. Those windows will not open, correct?
That's right, that's a fixed aluminum storefront system. So,
You're talking
like
about
a
like
wall.
the circles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with this part?
Well,
The
that's
window
what the
is right
bar.
do you mean the window itself?
No, the colors do.
No, the colors have everything to do with what you're seeing there.
How do you guys refer to this section?
We call it the Ben Franklin
Okay.
edition, yeah. Those color blocks will be cut in the rectangular shapes that you see.
One panel per.
One panel per pane, yeah.
So it's a solid pane.
Right, right,
And they alternate between your palette of colors.
that's right, yeah.
And what is this figuring?
Those are patterns that we drew on the glass that we could cut into these pieces of application for a little geometric shape in there. I think you just did some circles, right?
Yeah.
In a shape, just to get an extra layer of depth into the art.
Cool. Okay.
The window frame there, though, it'll be that configuration without,
Yes, sir.
There will be no opening into that?
No, ma'am.
The exit will be somewhere else?
They're all on the desert side.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good.
and that goes directly to the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
This is almost like a curtain wall, right?
Yeah,
Very much so.
essentially.
Very much so.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Better than what we saw before.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just to remind you, that room is,
Exactly the same, isn't it?
this plan is still about 98% accurate. That room is this one where the kids play. I don't think that much color is right for a classroom, but that's a playroom. So there's a new opening right here
Okay.
and a new opening here in the building. So when kids come in, and this is a half wall with about 50 cubbies for their backpacks and coats and things, so they'll see this. It's a really nice way to be greeted when you come in the building, I think. And then all the way down this hall, you'll catch some glimpses of that light.
I like it.
And we think, I know you're not as concerned with the inside, we're pretty certain we can expose and clean up all of the once exterior brick on this building, and that corridor is going to be a really neat space to walk through.
We're not concerned, but we're nosy and we like to know what's going on inside.
Fair enough, fair enough. But we think it'll be almost as neat on the inside.
Well, I have some questions about level 2.
Level 2, okay.
Yeah, well, when I was going through the packet, I noticed that a lot of the windows upstairs are in the theater, and and then I started wondering what the use
Yeah.
of those windows were, and there's there's windows up there.
You're right, there are some. They are all backstage, and they would be blacked out from the back.
Well, they would be not,
Because there are openings there, but I figured you'd have to close them up somehow. you
yeah,
know?
well, I see it as having, there basically being a secondary curtain that would block those off when there is a performance going on that you would need it for, but, you know,
Because, they're going to be closed.
not all the, I mean, you know, there's only performances twice a year. You know, that's the, you know, how I see it is that more often than not, it's not going to be a performance
Oh,
space.
okay.
And it, you know, there'll be, you know, well, practicing plays, you know, you know, the natural light is, you know, would be great. So that's why, you know, we just left them in there, and they're just replacing the original windows with, you know, the new ones.
I just realized that's where it was. I was
Yeah,
wondering.
that's in that back there. I'd like to see those blocked out. I'm an old theater junkie, and so I like that darkness backstage. And so I'm with you.
I understand.
Because I foresee that will be used for more, once that theater is available, it will be used for more than just 2 plays a year.
Well, yeah, it would be great.
I build a lot of sets, and
Yeah.
I just was shocked.
Me too.
So what you're saying is that you can put a blackout there that's
Yeah.
removable.
If you- We work best
That
in the
would seem
dark.
to satisfy everyone.
And yeah, because
Yeah.
the school sees it as, you know, also, you know, and also the parish as a, you know, could be, someone could go and talk there, or they could have an all-school assembly and things like that, and, you know, it makes sense to have the light, you know, not to close up a window.
Yeah.
Just as a sticking
Okay.
point, you know, for an architect who would never want to close up windows.
Yeah.
And it's definite that the mural is gone. I'm of
In
two-
their eyes.
In their eyes, yeah.
That's our preference and
Or
our
we're gonna put
clients.
big windows in instead.
Yeah. I painted that top right corner.
Oh, you painted it personally? Oh, I'm sorry. That we want to take down your
If
mural.
you could just leave that little bit left.
But we did all agree that we would document it photographically and prepare some kind of,
You know,
Honorary
that
display.
250th, it's kind of a nice,
It is a point in our history, and it's a historic district. I initially didn't like the removal of and I really still don't like it. And I felt, though, at first you said you needed that light up on the second floor. And now we're saying, we don't really need the light. We're putting the windows in for the aesthetic effect of the exterior, not really for the,
well, the theater is toward the
the
north.
back, yeah. I had to look at that real close.
And so the larger windows that we're wanting to put in fill the band room and the large meeting room. So those are classrooms that will be used during the day.
those
And
will be
regularly.
open in the-
Yeah, oh yeah, they're gonna be open.
Yes, sir.
main building.
Yes, sir. The theater itself starts back here
Okay,
in those small rooms.
okay.
Have you guys looked at the previous example when that same artist's work was taken down in downtown St. Louis?
No, we sure didn't.
That's on the internet. There was a lot of controversy about it.
Uh-huh.
Same
but people-
artist.
Yes.
Yeah, exact same artist.
Yeah. I think it's something you ought to look at.
Yeah, we will.
Just to get the experience.
Yeah.
Know what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that artist actually worked with an architectural firm to do a reduced scale version of the mural that had to come down so that it could still be displayed for historical purposes.
Oh.
Well, we should look 'em up.
In addition to photographic documentation, to actually recreate it on a reduced scale to be displayed somewhere else.
On a
And
different
say, you know,
building or,
this was done at 800% on the side of what is now this building.
Was it an exterior
Yes.
recreation? It was,
Yeah.
okay. Huh. In St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay.
And that artist is still working in St. Louis. And
Yeah,
he was,
sure.
he saw the, you know, he, I guess, came to the realization of the justice values to see that it was good for the community to do what they had to do, but then working with historical restoration people, recreated it for documentation, for accurate documentation, other than photographic where it's scrapbook, you flip pages. I mean, this is
Right.
something you could actually, you know, walk up and see it.
That's a good idea.
We'll look into that.
Is there a motion, or?
What do we,
Can-
Yeah,
yes,
there's
can
a
we-
lot.
Can we
And-
discuss things and make motions in?
And then will there be more windows at the bottom? I mean, like where some of these are blocked in or whatever, are you gonna take those out?
what page are you looking at? Yeah.
8 of 22.
Let's see, so what do we show on the plan?
We showed some of those windows, but
These, the lower part below on the,
Where the
I'll get up.
mural is painted
Our-
on
yeah.
picture, on windows?
and actually in looking at that after Brenda asked the question, it's like, those are not accurate to what was there. And I don't think that adding those, I actually don't think adding those does anything. And actually, we would prefer there to be more wall space in that, because that's a large, you know, reception space. And looking at it, you know, in the last couple weeks, there wasn't any much blank wall to, you know, to put, for like a head table or a DJ or thing, you know, other things like that. So actually, you know, we would prefer to leave, you know, some of those, you know, not open those back up.
Well, let me follow up with that question, if I may. Some of the windows spaces that have been filled in with brick are mismatched. Is there anything that can be done to correct that?
To correct the mismatched brick? Yeah, I suppose with the amount of masonry we'll be doing, we could take it out and get some to match.
Well, the easiest way to correct that, which makes it less noticeable, is to recess the thing, like the blind window.
Yeah.
Recess it an inch or two, and that line gives way, and it's an attractive feature and in use since the Romans.
I just think the mismatched window fills are a real
Yeah, they're-
eyesore, and they're real eye-catching. You know, and it just, I think this looks so elegant that when you see something that was clearly poorly done 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know, I think I know what you're talking, there's, one of the bays was filled in.
On the side,
One
the
of the
bay on the
large.
side,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's got
It's-
clearly a newer brick.
right,
Right.
right.
Yeah, like this one here.
Oh, yeah,
What
right.
page are you looking at?
That's at 8,
Okay, same thing. Oh,
see
right,
there,
for
yeah.
example, yeah.
yeah.
That one I know sticks out.
I know, that's nothing but a cost issue, I mean, it doesn't, but it isn't, it would be a great improvement. And I think if you don't do it, it would detract from the work you are doing.
Yeah, that's a lot of brick.
Yeah, that one would be expensive.
With no return on investment, except
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Except aesthetics.
Right.
So it's all about the paint job.
It would have to be you know, we'd have to look at that and see how much salvage, you know, brick you could
Right.
salvage.
You might salvage some
You
of
know, I
it.
don't know where.
I don't want to say we'll do our best, but, I mean, we can make every commitment to you that if it's economically feasible, we would prefer to bring the building up to its same historic aesthetic.
You just keep it in mind.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
know, that's a decision for the parish after all.
right.
If it was a windows worth or something, you know, I could sit here tonight and spend that money, but I just
Well, there's
couldn't.
plenty of places where it is just a windows.
Yeah, but that's a pretty significant scale
Yeah.
of brick
Yeah.
and matching mortar as well.
But perhaps when you take open up the large windows upstairs, that might
That's what he
give
said.
Yeah,
you, yeah.
The biggest issue
Clean
that,
up.
you know, I know running into when I was working with Dad on the Apple Kids Clinic, the doctor's office, when we redid that, And that brick was way newer than this, that, when you're cleaning off that brick, they just break. And
Yeah.
this brick being, much
Older,
older,
when you
you're gonna
clean
have a
off
lot of
paint,
that, so it's gonna
yeah.
be hard to, hard to to save a lot of brick, even though, you do have some big expanses of areas that, we will be
Yeah.
taking out, but that brick being that old, could be an issue.
Yeah. So
Well,
we
maybe you
just-
could do as
we've
much as
thrown it out
possible
there.
with the actual windows and then do something decorative to that one space.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the requests like one by one. There's
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Item number 1. Right.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, did we all ask questions that need to be?
Okay.
Are we talking about 1 through 7?
But if you go
Yeah.
to page 8, she's got, there's your staff.
What
thing that shows them.
Well, I'm on the very first page now. Request preliminary discussions of project design prior to
Window
additions.
replacements and alterations, roof replacement.
Yeah, there's 7.
Reopening, repointing,
Do you want to just go through that?
yeah.
Because
I do.
we're just talking around it. Let's
Yeah.
get on it.
Oh, I see.
I think we've asked a lot of the questions, but let's go.
I make a
Well, there is your
motion.
motion.
Okay,
You go.
I make
What's
a
your
motion.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to accept the window replacements and the alterations as proposed to both the Ben Franklin side and the Rozier side of the building. With the added recommendation that if you can, open some of those windows up or change the bricks, if you can.
I'd like further discussion on that.
Okay.
There's a staff recommendation in here that the issue of the mural be addressed by the community. I personally don't feel entitled to vote on taking down that mural without some community involvement. So I'm in love with the project, I love the end result, but
I
I
do
don't,
too, but
I
I
don't
think
want to
there's
take, it's not blame, it's responsibility or authority or, whatever you want to call it. I don't think that's my call.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I don't know, so what are you proposing?
Then let me restate that I propose to accept the window replacements in the front of the building and in the Ben Franklin side of the building, and any opening on the 3rd Street side, but leaving anything to do with the mural until further discussion has been made.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I oppose that hugely myself, but I'm just one vote.
Okay.
I mean, guys, they came to us months ago with this. We even had a work session recently. They're trying to get this project underway. I mean, you're going to delay.
Well, I think, issue 4 is the removal of the bicentennial mural. And that we could discuss that, and then once that's been decided, and I think I'm with Jan, that maybe we need to open this to the community and get some kind of feedback. It could be that everybody in town will go, what mural? I've never noticed a
Right,
mural.
right.
Who
Guys,
cares
what's your
about the
methodology
mural?
on that? I mean, how are you going to
Can we,
have a public referendum? I mean, how would that work? I mean,
Got any thoughts, Brenda?
realistically.
Call Brenda.
We could request a special public meeting.
That's all I'd suggest.
and-
You have your opportunity to voice your opinion,
Right.
or even reasons unknown to us regarding its significance or insignificance to the community.
And if no one shows up, well, that
Then
that
it's a
says
done
lot.
deal.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what
do
I mean,
it?
I'm sorry, I'd like to see this go forward
I do-
and
I
lose
do
the
too.
mural. But I don't want to,
I love the end
I'm not sure
product.
we're
I
authorized.
really do
Sure.
love the end product, but
yeah.
I think what they're doing, I mean, I'm an artist. But I think what they're doing is respectful of the artwork and the 250th, because they'll still be keeping it in the building. I was here when they painted it. I remember it. I know Mr. Gegg. I know Julie. I mean, all the people on there we know, but I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I feel like it's, I don't know, a lot of my stuff gets covered up. I'm not famous, but, but I mean, it's progress, but they're trying to keep the old, I guess. I mean, will the public meeting do it? I mean,
I think that should
if
be
we
the
put
end of
something
it.
in the paper and there's not enough, I mean,
How
what
about
do
we have
you?
a public meeting to decide how to memorialize it, but it still comes down. You can't block them, guys.
I think that
Crazy.
if
Maybe
some
that's a good
proposal
way
came
to.
forward by the people here without putting too much into it, along the lines that Jan had suggested, you contact an artist to have a good reproduction done of the thing. Perhaps if that were offered at the public meeting, that could be accepted.
I wanted to ask if we could consider exactly that thing, and I'll tell you why. Those side windows are hugely important, I think, to the renovation of the entire project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all agree there. And my fear is that if you have a public meeting like that, you will not generate nearly as much enthusiasm among the people who have studied the context of the project and our proposal and would come to speak equally enthusiastically as those who would just say, oh, I don't want it to come down. It's been,
I'm just
I
afraid
think,
it's opening
I
a
don't think you
huge
would
can
get
of
a
worms.
proportionately fair public hearing. Now, obviously, I'm arguing in favor of my project, but what I do think would be fair is the artist is alive and practicing, and we can call him and track him down and make every effort to contact him and ask him for some kind of proposal to recreate it. I don't know how in the world it would be compatible with our budget, but we could certainly
Well-
track it down. Or maybe maybe he's got another creative way
Yeah,
to do it.
and I have no idea where the money would come from, but I don't think that if we recreated it, it would necessarily have to be completely funded out of your budget. You know, I think that some of this, if we decide we want it, as a community, we need to be able to put in the money to see that it gets done, you know, proportionately. I don't know how that would go, but,
Guys, we're the Landmarks Commission, we're not the Art Appreciation Commission,
Yeah.
right?
Which
Well-
is exactly my
Yeah, that would be a different domain, would it
But-
not? I mean,
but
Well,
this is a
you never know, he
landmark.
might be able to be the one to take the picture and saturate the colors to the way they originally were, and he might be able to make a more respectful one than a local person. I mean, that's another way to look at it.
Yeah. But I think as the Landmarks Commission, this is a commemoration of the 250th, and it is part of our history. It is apropos for us to chime in on this. But,
you know, I disagree.
But I don't wanna hold
Again, I'm only
anything up, so-
one person.
yeah.
I mean, what you all are proposing is, from a business perspective, these guys have a budget, they're trying to build a building, no different than St. John does all the
Yeah.
time. You put in an impossible parameter, the unfounded concept of asking the public to vote on a mural, which would require, I don't even know how that would even be possible. If we want to have, if the public wants to vote on what they want to do to memorialize it and put the money up to do it, right? This mural has not been upkept, right? It's faded, it's in terrible condition, everyone knows that. So it's kind of odd that people would suddenly have great fervor for it, yet they don't want to put up 5 cents to renovate it
yeah.
for the
Well,
past.
that may very well come out and ask for a public meeting. Nobody may show up, and everybody that does show up may say, well,
Okay,
sure, I'd like to see it, but
What's the timeframe for the public meeting?
I'd
They're racing
say
the clock to
within-
start before winter hits. What is
No,
your-
I would say at the very most, it should get in this week's paper and be held next week, early next week, so that it can be,
Okay, but let's say 5 people show up and they all say, I love that mural, it's my favorite mural. What do you do?
Well, I think that goes back to your point, saying this is going to happen,
yeah.
but we want some feedback.
Yeah, I mean, does people want to
I
run
mean,
some
you made
pictures
the
of
point,
it?
you
Or
said we're the Landmarks Commission, not the Art Commission.
Right.
So that, if we were the Art Commission, then I would say we have the purview of saying, destroy it. But we're not. Therefore, I don't think we do have the purview to say, destroy the art. If we had governance over interiors, I would certainly have a hard time voting to remove Marteel's mural from the post office. That's nationally recognized, and she's nationally recognized. I'm not comfortable with judging destruction of artwork, no matter how faded it is. If need be, I'll just abstain from the vote.
Well, no, I'm just saying, in other words,
Yeah.
give me, again, I'm a businessman, so I can only think in terms of practicality. What is the rational plan here? I'm not seeing in other words, we put in the paper, we have a meeting next week. 4 people show up, they say, I love the mural, so that means we can't put the windows in, or does it mean, what happens then?
Well, can we approve the windows on the south side of the building and in the back where the mural isn't, and then get started?
How does that work for you guys?
That's an order we would have to place all at the same time, really.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
What
about getting a hold of Bob Fishbone?
What about some form of suggestion box at City Hall in 30 days to take comments?
I mean, they're not
You
going to
could
just
do
rip
that.
that mural down day one, right? You wouldn't
Yeah.
take the mural down
Right.
for what?
Probably not this calendar year.
Not this calendar year. It gives people plenty of time to figure out how they want to memorialize it, whether they want to
You could take 60 days.
photographs or painting or...
I think what I'm hearing is that we all want to see your work accomplished. There's some of us that have some reservations about destroying a piece of art that is germane to the history of the community. There's nothing to prevent us from you proceeding with what you need to do with it and trying to make a decision in a timely manner as to what the consequence, what the
What can be done.
solution could be to the thing. If there is a good solution that can be afforded, we do it. If there's not, we've tried. But I don't think we should hold up the project.
I don't
On the
either.
basis of
I mean, as much as I like the mural, I don't want to hold up the project. And I think it looks fabulous. I really do.
I love the mural, but partly
Yeah.
it's because I recognize the people are on it.
Yeah, yeah.
What if we have a
And-
public referendum where everyone's invited to come and discuss options of memorializing the mural? There could even be fundraising if people want to go out and have the paint or repaint or whatever anyone wants to do. But that way they can get their windows ordered and that way we're not
I'm okay
destroying
with
it.
that.
It's just
Yeah.
in a new form. It's taking
How
a
do
new
you feel
shape.
about that?
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm playing devil's advocate. I just think it needs to be discussed.
yeah. I'll tell you, at supper tonight, right before I came, I was looking through these papers, and I had brother and sister-in-law there, and they went, "They're taking down the mural." Oh no! And so that's when I thought, oh well, I knew I liked it, you know. But I found out that there were others too.
So can we
Okay,
do a motion again here?
all right.
Well, so what do we want to, we should go over
We've got a
number 4
motion and a
first.
second already on,
Okay, so,
And a vote. We've already voted.
yeah, we voted on
we
that.
already voted to say that was
But you
okay.
can make a motion to undo that motion.
No, can you read that motion back?
That motion would really handcuff us. If you can back it up, if you can walk it back.
Well, in a nutshell,
That's fine, that's fine.
to approve the window replacements as requested on the front of both buildings and on the 3rd Street side of the building, except for what would affect the mural.
Okay.
Which means you can't place an order for glass.
I vote to negate that vote.
Yeah, then I'll make a motion
Well,
to
let's then
negate,
Okay, we have a motion to negate that
to
motion.
negate the previous.
Is there a second
I
to
second.
negate? All right, all
So
in
let's-
favor of negating, say
Wait a
aye.
minute, wait a minute. She made the motion to negate. She can't second her own motion.
No, I
No, she made the motion to negate. She seconded to negate.
Sorry.
All in favor of negating that motion?
Just a minute, let me
Okay.
check with you here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So all in favor of negating the first motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that first motion is negated.
So now let's move to number 4 about the bicentennial mural. Because that's what's the problem is, right?
So we need,
Do you want to redo a motion on 1, or you want to?
No, I think we need to.
We need to
I think
move
Jane's
down to
saying
number
let's-
4.
Let's
Okay.
discuss item 4 and then come back to item 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I don't know how
Frank, you were on the committee that made all of this happen. You want to give us your thoughts?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a community effort to generate the support and to generate the idea of what can we do to commemorate the 250th and leave some impression on the community that this event happened. And what came out of it was decision to put up the mural, because at that time, these murals in St. Louis were very prominent
Very
and nationally recognized, and we thought that would be a good thing for St. Genevieve. And I think it was. We've got another project now that's in conflict with that. And what we're trying to find out is some way that we can have both.
Yeah,
That's difficult.
yeah.
I am
So-
not in favor of changing the configuration of the windows on that
What
side
about
of the building.
contacting, what if you guys contacted Bob Fishbone and
We'd be
maybe
happy
saw
to.
what he had to say about this and how, because the community wants to move forward, what can we do in these type of situations? What have you done in,
Yeah.
to still commemorate?
Yeah, we'd be happy to. We can report back in a week's time.
I mean, and then,
yeah.
because I don't know, I feel like we are opening up a huge can of worms.
Yeah, I think so. Either way, if we approve
That's all I got
removing
on
it or
this
don't
motion.
approve of removing it, somebody's going to be upset. But
But if the artist that did it has something to do with the commemoration of it, maybe, I mean, I was thinking what you had planned might be fine, but
Yeah.
I think I might be.
How about if we have a motion that we
Different.
have a public forum to take place not less than 2 weeks from today to begin a discussion of how to memorialize the mural, which is being removed from the Rozier Building, and leaves the door open for potential fundraising based on what everyone wants to vote to do to memorialize the mural. How about that?
Public meeting to memorialize, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Can we put that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion that we
I
have a
second that.
public meeting.
Chairman Kepler.
Okay, I make
I'm
a
sorry.
motion. I make a motion to,
Okay, speak slowly, please.
I make a motion to have a public meeting in 2 weeks,
Within 2 weeks.
within 2 weeks, on how to memorialize the mural on the 3rd Street side of the Rozier Building.
I'm stuck on memorialize just a minute.
It's one big word.
Okay, I have to
Memorialize the mural on the side of the 3rd
The east side of the building.
east side of the building, okay? And with contact with the artist, Bob Fishbone.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? So, okay, so now, you want to go back to 1?
Yes. I'm trying to keep us going.
Okay.
Is it easier to go over to roof replacement?
No, I think we're ready to address number 1.
I think
Go ahead,
we basically can consider the whole thing now.
Or line by line, I think we can cruise through it.
Let's
Yeah.
line by line, okay, 1.
Vote to approve.
Okay,
Or motion to approve.
Motion to approve
Excuse me.
item number 1, window replacements, alterations.
Second.
We have a second.
After the
Public
Well,
hearing.
public.
No, because
No.
we've said we're
No,
going to
no, no,
have
no,
a
no,
meeting to memorialize
Memorialize.
it, which means we're going to let them take it down.
Okay.
And we're just going to figure out some way to keep a
Something about
presence
it.
of it.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, I'm sorry. Just making it clear.
okay.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. I think who was the second here?
I did.
Mickey was second.
I did.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 1 is approved.
I make a motion we approve item 2, roof replacement.
Second.
Okay?
Just a
Motion.
minute.
Okay?
Talk about the roof this time?
Yep. Roof
Motion
replacement.
to approve.
Motion from Frank, second from Jan. Okay, you okay?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, so
I
item
make-
2,
I make
Wait,
the
wait.
motion.
On the
to-
repointing, just make sure, I mean, the cleaning of the brick is like major because that power washing makes it concave.
right.
So just,
Power wash?
You got a power wash?
No.
We're gonna clean the brick.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought I thought I had read that.
I'm just going over
Not
that.
going to
Right,
do
can't
it,
power
yeah.
wash.
yeah, because it does, it
Oh, no.
Yeah.
makes it concave and
Yeah.
Right.
nasty.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that
Okay,
with
then
regard.
I make a motion to allow the repointing of the brick
I
and the
second.
cleaning of the brick.
Okay, we have a motion.
A
We have a
second.
second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 3 is approved. We already did item 4. Item 5. Is there a motion for item 5?
Motion to approve.
Just
Motion,
so long.
Second.
okay. We have a motion
Did
from
you,
Jan.
did you say
and
what we're voting on, or what you're voting on?
Motion
Number
item 5,
five.
Replacement of the-
replacement of front entryway. Motion approved by Jan,
Okay.
second by Frank. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 5 carries. Item 6, removal of the beautiful wrought iron balconites.
Okay.
I really approve that one.
Yeah, I make the motion that they be gone as quickly as possible.
All right, we have a motion.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
I second.
So Mickey, your motion, okay?
Motion to
Motion number
approve.
6 to
Yeah.
approve by Mickey,
Second.
second by Frank. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item 7, replacement doors for side and rear entryways. Is there a motion on that?
How many extra side? There's 2 on the west side,
2 on the Ben Franklin side.
Ben Franklin. And then,
They're in here.
and then there's still one,
That's existing.
That's existing.
This is one of the changes. This existing opening, a door, will be closed. This is an existing window opening, and it will have a door there. And this existing dock is open.
and then where the bay is, where the newer brick is, on the east side, up, over?
Here.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there.
There.
that's where that bay was, right?
Yeah, which one of those is existing side?
That's the one we were talking about, the big expansive fill-in.
Oh, right, right.
In general, what type of doors will they be? Will they be flush? Will they be
Like that?
They're gonna match, they're gonna, as close to match that
Yeah.
as possible.
I make a motion to replace the doors
There'll be aluminum,
and put the new
Doors.
ones in the west side.
yeah, aluminum doors finished dark to match all the other metal openings.
Second
Mostly
motion.
glazed.
Okay, we have a motion from Jamie, second by Jan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 7 carries. Is that it? Okay.
The only thing I
That's
know
it?
we didn't touch on was we do have new windows on the desert side as well that will, match their new windows in the classroom. We didn't, talk about those, but
Well,
That,
item,
yeah.
one
I don't know
talks
if
about
item
window
one
replacement, but
carries
it just
into
never, nobody mentioned
Yeah.
those in particular.
Can we amend the
Yeah,
item 1 to include that simply?
can we do that, Brenda?
on the west side of the building.
Well, so we could just have another
Yeah, I
one,
mean,
couldn't we
it is
just
all
make another one?
concepts.
But no,
Okay.
there's no documentation.
What do they want?
You just want to make sure that the valleys, the desert side is included in item 1.
to make sure it's
By definition,
comprehensive.
anyway.
Well, 'cause but, no, it wouldn't be in there because we talked about replacements and alterations, and we need making new openings. So,
Should we just do a separate additional?
yeah.
Motion?
Do we have any
But it's not in the-
information about it?
We don't have any paperwork.
No, we don't even show it anywhere because they're, kind of minor on the first floor.
Well, there's the plan,
How many?
the plans there.
We show
There's 2 classrooms.
4 classrooms.
Yes, yeah, 2 pre-K and
And-
2K.
We show some narrower windows, and we show 4 in each classroom on out of 2 of them, and 5 in each of the other classrooms.
Oh, so there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, there's no windows on the backside at all, and for classrooms, we
You really need,
really want,
Yeah,
some
you want-
daylight in those
yeah,
classrooms.
The windows, will match those on the side of the building now, correct?
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to say, I'd like to be careful about this one, not for this case, but for any future case where someone says, well, I told you I was going to cut some holes in the walls and put in windows. These are just a couple more windows.
Do you have a drawing of some type to just show?
I mean, all I'm saying is paperwork.
Right, right.
Just
I see-
anything,
I
just
see
an
what you
elevation
mean,
drawing of the desert side?
It would be a fixed window, similar in proportion to the way the window in the Ben Franklin building is broken down. It's be a series of rectangles that are taller than they are wide. So we wouldn't want to turn that corner and treat those windows differently. We wouldn't want it to look like like a thin strip.
So it's in the Ben Franklin side only, you're saying?
Yeah.
Not on the, what I call the 2-story building?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Just on the
Right.
Ben Franklin side, okay.
On the desert side,
Desert
where
side,
there's,
that's right,
where
yeah.
there's nothing now.
Well, we've addressed alterations to all the facades, and now there's one that's going to have pretty drastic changes that's not documented, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe you could include a language in your proposal to match the proportion and aesthetic of the Ben Franklin window so that you've got a consistent, at least you verbally describe the consistency. Is that helpful?
Let's see, let me see, let me take a crack at this.
me see.
I move that we allow the openings of windows in the classrooms on the west side of the Ben Franklin portion of the building with fixed windows, rectangular, longer tall than wide, 4 in each classroom, did you say?
4 to 5.
4 to 5 in each classroom?
How many is that total?
It would be 4, there's 4
It's
classrooms.
18 windows.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
18
On one
windows.
level?
It'd be 4 units, and it would be divided like that. So you'd have a total of 16 to 20 panes,
Yeah, because
lights.
they'd be divided more like Ben Franklin is now.
We should divide it, go ahead and just point out which ones you mean.
We just,
That's-
That
that's a lot
elevation's
of
not
glass.
shown.
Yeah, yeah, you don't have any,
Each one would be about 4 of those, be like that. And we'd make them maybe narrower in proportion, but real similar to that.
Why don't we just make a simple motion to approve a number of openings
well, there's only,
with the windows to match those that are not matched, but be in the same basic
Scale.
design as the ones in the front of the list.
there'd be technically then 4 openings.
4
with,
openings.
there'll be 4 window openings, and then the windows that will infill will have extra, mullions in there.
4 to 5 lights per window.
4 to 4 lines.
I'd like to ask Brenda, because this is, to me, not an aesthetics issue, it's not an architectural issue, it's a record-keeping issue. Do we have a
It's just
problem?
opening up an issue for
Yeah.
things in the future.
Yeah, it is, without having any drawing that we can
But I'd be,
record.
I can do a special meeting.
I can too,
I
if that's
can
what it
too.
takes. But
Could
at
it
the
be
same
done
time,
even
can Brenda give
by a
us?
phone vote? In other words, if we distribute around, do you have a drawing at your office that shows it?
Yeah, we can make one.
We can get you,
Yeah.
we can get you an
So could
updated
they
one.
just email us that drawing and we could all just phone vote to Brenda?
Sure.
That would work?
Okay.
I'll agree to do that, that's fine.
Okay. So we can just do that.
So,
Yeah, for me to understand, you've got 4 window openings, and there's,
There are 4.
4 window openings with 4 to 5 lights each.
Across.
across.
right.
But then there may be lights in the center of
one
those
row?
windows?
Yes.
There's a row on top of row on top of row, like.
No,
No.
they're across.
Definitely not that tall.
It's probably easiest for him just to email the plan.
4 new openings,
Yeah, subdivided.
subdivided.
Whoops.
Like
Like
that.
this.
Okay, I don't think you have any trouble passing that.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
then the playroom's still over here.
Then let me
But
still
these are the
make
4
that
classrooms.
motion
They're going to be longer than that.
Okay, so we have a
to,
motion.
we have the
Well,
motion
it's
to
Same
accept,
portion as those.
allow them to open window openings, 4 openings with 4 to 5 lights, but not to be voted on until we've seen, is that what you want?
Email it, and then we'll just...
Why are we making any motions? What,
No,
How are you gonna
he's
just
just
vote?
gonna, he's
You
just gonna
gotta vote on
email us
something?
tomorrow, maybe, the
What are you
drawing,
gonna vote on?
and we'll
when
all
it-
just
when
phone
it's
vote.
sent? There's no motion to vote on if they just send something.
oh, you're just putting the motion on the record?
I'm putting the motion on the record, and then
Clear.
when we can vote on it
Got it.
after we've seen it
After we get
on-
some paperwork.
Yeah,
Got it.
okay.
Okay, so Brandon's over you. Okay, is there a second?
I'll
I
second that.
second.
Who?
Jamie.
All of the seconds, Jamie. All right, we have Jamie seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? All right, so if you just email us the plans tomorrow,
You bet.
and we'll just, that'll get you
Email
going.
Brenda, Brenda will email us.
And we'll email back, and it'll be done.
Yeah.
Great.
And when you email everybody. So everybody
Reply
knows.
all.
Right.
Reply all.
That's fine.
Okay. Oh, God, that's another one.
So you don't have to come back down, you can just do it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, great, we're really excited about the project.
Yeah.
Thank you so
We
much.
really are.
For
We
your
really are.
helpful and thoughtful consideration.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, next up is HPCA 13-0916C, a request to replace roofing materials from architectural shingles to standing seam metal on the house located at 417 Jefferson Street, circa 1957.
And I have to recuse myself
Understand?
and come down here and be
You don't have to leave.
the presenter.
Oh.
And because I'm not technologically savvy, I took the pictures, but I couldn't get them to Brenda, but I will be happy to pass this around. If you want to see pictures of the house and the roof. Here you go, George, and then just push it to see the next ones.
Oh, we were going to photograph this evening.
And you've got the photograph of the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But this has pictures of the roof if you needed to see it.
Is it a true standing seam roof?
Yes, yes.
Not siding?
No, no, it's standing seam, and unfortunately, the pictures I had of the new roof, I deleted somehow.
Because it's extremely important, particularly on this building. That roof is so flat
Yeah,
that unless you get a really good standing
No.
seam or a built-up, you're gonna be in trouble.
yeah. No, it's a standing
I
seam.
suspect that may be what's the problem with the existing.
Yeah,
Well, a comment that I would make right off the bat is I can't see the roof.
That could work.
here,
I'm
pass.
6 feet, I'm 6'1", I can't see that roof.
I can't either.
I mean, I thought I could see it from the aerial, but
But it isn't so much a question of seeing it, I guess it is from a historic standpoint, but from a maintenance standpoint, that's a flat
yeah, that's not our
roof.
problem. I mean, I love standing seam roofs, standing seam
Yeah.
steel roofs.
Yeah, and I think actually that's probably more appropriate to the 50s
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Especially to this part of the country.
Right.
Oh,
As soon as I got enough of it.
Is there a
I'd like to
motion?
make a motion to approve the standing seam roof at 417 Jefferson Street.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second by Jan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and you're free to put on the standing
Okay.
metal seam roof. All right. Our last item is HPCA number 130196D, a request to close in windows, replace current windows with vinyl windows and metal siding at the city street shed located at 598 Market Street, circa 1950. Looks like we have Mayor Grammager as our spokesperson here.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hello there. Well, as you know, we had a fire down there, and out of the 1,000 or so pieces of glass that are in those individual panes, almost 400 of them are broke. And we got it was brought up actually a couple of years ago, and wasn't in the budget, to try to close those openings in, certainly for energy efficiency. And at the time, a lot of those were falling out, and we did go back and actually caulk them all in. But now, this gives us, I guess, the opportunity. It's going to end up costing us probably twice as much, at least, to close it in as to replace those panes of glass. But now certainly the time to do it, it makes the most sense for us to spend the money now to do it. We do lose a lot of heat out of there, and then the glare in the summertime and of those guys trying to work in there when the sun is coming in there, it turns around and acts the opposite. Some of the frames, some of those steel awning or fixed casement or fixed frames that are embedded in the concrete are starting to really deteriorate pretty bad, or rusting pretty bad, and actually, getting to a structural issue, I think, with some of those. It wouldn't be too many more years where we would have to deal with that anyway. So,
Where's that?
really along the bottom edge where they're going to
Where the windows
sill down at the bottom. So some of it's steel starting to deteriorate pretty bad. So we wanted to brought it up to the board last Thursday night, and they we had a couple different drawings, a couple different ideas. One with a ribbon of windows all the way around. I think Dave his comment was he'd rather have some more wall space than having, a complete, like one row of windows all the way around it. He'd rather have the wall space, not needing that many windows. And the board's idea was to try to do it as efficiently as possible as far as cost goes. And that would end up being like a vertical steel siding around the windows. We had two different plans. One was a horizontal type of siding, either a cement board or there's a sample I had of a new steel vertical siding that was out there that had a pretty long guarantee on it, but the board suggested pretty much unanimously that to go with this vertical approach. And I'm not sure the drawings that you've got, what you've got is actually both options. You got the horizontal one on the top and the same elevation with the vertical one on the bottom.
I like the vertical anyway.
Does this call for any change to this area?
No, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, it did not get damaged, and we don't have the funds to do it.
There's a couple things that concern me a little bit on this. I understand what you're saying is by getting rid of the windows, you'll increase the energy efficiency. I'm not totally sure of that, because you're going to have a new electric lighting system in there, because it's going to be a cave once you close all the windows. And I haven't seen the figures on what that trade-off is, and I don't think that's our business anyway.
No.
The other thing is, and I guess it's more of a complaint than anything else. We've had two items on the agenda tonight, one on each side of one of the most distinguished buildings in the community. The Knights of Columbus building. That's a beautiful
That
building.
is a gorgeous building.
On the one side, to make a little screen porch, we had 26 pages of justification. On the other side, to make a gigantic pole barn with metal siding, we have 2 pages. And that's what it is going to look like. And it's not fair to the Knights of Columbus without some landscaping so that you don't see the doggone thing.
You know, there's nothing pretty about the street department. I don't know how pretty we can make it other than not putting it somewhere else.
Disguise them as best you can behind something.
And I'm sure when that came up, or that opportunity to purchase that building came up several years ago, I guess it was a necessity because of where they were before down in the floodplain, but yeah, I don't know how to make
You
it.
do have a 20-foot wide swath of green space there. Could be landscaped.
Yeah, sure could. And it is green. They don't park it there anymore. It is green there. It sure is. We could do that. We even have a tree farm that we've got some nice trees growing there that if they're start beginning to get too big, we better do something with them or we'll never get them transplanted. Sure.
It would soften it a bit.
It
because
would,
it's going to be.
that's kind of a great idea.
That is a very good idea.
Put it like in between
I don't know what the
windows.
dirt is under there, but it can't be any worse than downtown.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Main Street Park.
Right.
Just place it in between the windows, it'd be great.
Even though we have no say on what color you do, what color are you intending to
Just to
make?
match the existing.
Something to match existing brick. I was thinking of my personally opinion, but again, I'm certainly not an artist or decorator, but I wasn't thinking of white windows, probably going with a tan window versus a white, and something that would go with the brick.
And the siding would be that same thing to kind of...
Right, something to
close
complement it, right,
Is there yellow brick on there?
yeah.
But the
So
siding
something
is a
cream or,
Yeah.
rib barn siding.
Yeah.
a cream color.
Pick out the nicest with what we could. I mean, that we can.
Makes a nice pole barn.
Yeah.
Put some graffiti on it.
Trees.
Trees is good, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's-
Trees.
So is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve it as stated with the addition of trees.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'd like some more discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
Windows. We have every meeting practically a discussion about what type of windows. And
That's
here
true.
we are,
Here we are with vinyl
the city
windows.
with vinyl windows. Can't you manufacture some windows for that?
Well, we could, but I guess as everything else, we're looking at a maintenance, as far as the city goes, looking at a maintenance issue and maintaining them, and certainly what I would make, or my company would end up making, would be strictly a wood window, and which, again, wouldn't be real practical inside of a shop like that. It's just, that part wouldn't make much sense.
Can I make a comment? Just not to try and divert this discussion, but it's going to, or else we can just table it. We all agree that there's nothing you can do, that the building's never been attractive. It is what it is. But on the other hand, it may be an opportunity. I know we've already talked about the budget being blown by having solid material instead of glass. But maybe it is an opportunity to, with whatever window treatments or whatever a creative designer or architect might be able to say, take a funky building and make it something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I'm afraid what we're going to end up with is just a great big pole barn. I hate to say that, but that's material we're using. And
I'm not saying go, gild the lily, but I think just rather than approving sheet metal, let's take a little more creative shot at it.
the other problem is I don't know how far we're seeing the projects for the first time, really. We've heard some discussion about it. But a substantial amount of the work is already done.
Oh, no. No, there's not. There's nothing been done.
That's just,
Well, all that wood on it.
That's just
That's
to
from
keep
the
the
fire.
glass from
Broken
falling out.
windows.
All that glass up there is
Okay.
broke.
That's just
Yeah.
wood
Okay.
sheet.
That's just
particle
to
board.
stabilize the glass so it don't fall on people.
Very good.
Maybe just the east side, maybe just the north and the east side.
That,
West side.
that's just excellent.
West side, excuse me.
yeah, that's all they're going
West
to
side
do
is
is
what I
the
meant.
north and the west side.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to do something since we're, like I
The
said, we
east
blow
side
it.
also.
Beg
There's
pardon?
windows on the east side that will be covered.
Well, really, we
Yeah,
were
but those-
doing,
those
we weren't
don't draw
going to
attention.
touch much on the north side, just there by the door.
that one-
The part that probably needs, the biggest help would be that old showroom. What was the old showroom but it really,
Personally, what I'm getting at is, I don't think there's any discussion, any need for discussion on the east side panel. I mean, it's just a sheer wall, it's never gonna draw your attention.
Agree, it's back in the, behind the fence anyway.
Right. But the east, the west side and
The west side, as you drive into town,
It's-
there's that beautiful building that's sitting behind it.
Right. I'm just saying, maybe there's
You got
something.
this other thing,
Okay, we're talking about public art that we're removing from the Rozier building. Would this be an opportunity to have something done here depicting historical St. Genevieve? Maybe we could get an artist that could do, a diorama or something of that nature.
Yes, I mean, again, I priced it out once, and just to do a mural, I mean, you're talking probably 10,000, more than that. If you call up Paducah, and if you call up Cape, I mean, Cape spent, I don't know how much a panel, but it was,
Well, I'm not suggesting anything like that. I'm just suggesting, as the mayor said, I'm not a designer or a architect at all, but just, it seems to me that west wall presents an opportunity to do something classic
I agree with you.
and probably find a way to do it economically. I'd say fine on the east wall, just go for it, with what we've been presented here. But I'm just suggesting that a little bit of that north wall and the entire west wall, just have someone look at it, see if there's not something that won't even cost anything.
Or maybe will cost less.
Just something to
Well, I guess I see what you're saying, just with a different configuration of windows does a ton. I mean, even if they had some, longer windows, like from the style, from the era that the building was built, would be a huge,
That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at it.
Yeah,
Let's have someone else other than me.
I mean, I see what you're saying, it could, because that changes the look of it
A lot.
tremendously. Yeah.
With no cost included.
Well, it would be like 8 windows. I mean, just something little, And it wouldn't be getting rid of, because they do need a lot of wall space. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
got all those signs and things that they need to,
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the closing up of that, but I'm with Jan that
It is one of the first architectural structures you see coming into the historic district
Yeah,
from 61.
yeah.
it can't be restored as it is. I recognize that, the expense of it.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not an unattractive building for a commercial building of its age.
Of its age, yeah.
It was worth saving until the fire. Now, it's a
Yeah.
different proposition. We've got to find a way, the city's got to find a way to get out of it economically, but from a historic standpoint, we needed to add to the beauty of the city, not to
Not
detract
to
from it.
detract, yeah.
And I think your suggestion is an excellent one. Have somebody come up with some ideas of how.
And if we can't afford it,
And
Okay.
Jamie has an idea there that's maybe an option, or a beginning of some ideas.
Well, take a look. We're going to have to, I'll probably ask you to for a special meeting or something, because obviously we're running into a
Weather is-
winter
yeah.
issue, so
Yeah.
we're gonna wanna move, they did clean the building, the cleaning company came in and cleaned the building up, so, now we're working with the electrician and the insulator and painter, so that'll be something we'll try to get done before we run into weather, so. All right.
Do you want us to table it for a week or something and
Let's table it until we hear from.
Okay,
from
sure.
you.
so that item is then tabled? All right. Is there any old business? Any citizen input? Any other business not on the agenda?
I just wanted to point out, I have a picture of Stella Lee, of Janice painting her windows. I took a picture of her doing that today, just as a positive recognition of someone downtown repainting their windows and sprucing it up for winter. So I applaud her for doing that.
Very nice.
And I also wanted to post the master restoration plan from 1966. And the reason I did that is that's been brought up a few times, especially with the Rozier building. The design that they received, or they got, was from the master plan. And I just wanted to point out that that was before the Historic Preservation Act was even adopted, and about 10 years before the Secretary of the Interior standards were adopted. So it really wasn't a restoration plan of historic preservation. It was more of a revitalization plan for St. Genevieve. And that's a big difference when you look at revitalization through changing the look of something as opposed to preserving what's
That's the
there.
HOK study, right?
I'm sorry?
That's the HOK study? Yeah.
Look, right.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that some of you haven't seen the master restoration plan that's been referred to, so I brought a copy of it tonight. And it did call for a lot of demolition of historic buildings in the center of downtown, and a lot of parking lots.
Oh,
Well,
And all the buildings look alike with the same windows.
pedestrian.
I'm sorry?
It was basically a pedestrian town when they were done
Yes.
with it.
It was popular back in 1966, when malls were just beginning, and with all the attention being diverted to I-55 as opposed to, and different ways to revitalize downtowns that were being abandoned. But like other things, that it's now outdated, and there are new theoretical concepts on what preservation should be.
Okay. All right. Any other business not on the agenda? In that case, we will adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
Hi, thank you for watching Channel 798.
Thank you for watching Channel 7 and 98.
Hi, thank you very much for watching Channel 798.